This week on Today's Homeowner, we're tackling the landscaping in my daughter Chelsea's newly renovated house. There's plenty to be done before we can call our First Time Homeowner series complete. Glad you're with us. We're finally nearing the end of our First Time Homeowner series. Almost a year ago, my oldest daughter, Chelsea, decided to buy her first house, and we've been following her through the process ever since. Once we made a few needed repairs and got her moved into the place, she started dreaming of ways to improve the 70-year-old cottage. With a little help from her dad, his construction company, and some of our good friends in the building industry, we've started making that happen. First, the exterior of the house got a total makeover to add some badly needed character and reduce the need for maintenance, as well as make it a lot more energy efficient. Then we renovated the lone, tiny little bathroom to make it more functional and attractive. And just last week, you saw the transformation of the old dated kitchen, which is now the most modern, most beautiful space in the entire house, and the next place I expect to be invited for dinner. Boy, we're really getting a lot of attention from the neighbors on all of the work we've done on Chelsea's house. The inside looks great, the outside looks great, minus one very important element, landscaping. It really needs some landscaping. Now, a lot of thought's gone into exactly how we're going to create that curb appeal that the house really needs, and that process started a few months ago. Before we started the exterior facelift, Chelsea and I walked over the place and talked about what needed to stay and what needed to go. The tree, what do you think?
Well, I think it needs to go.
Good.
I can only imagine a hurricane coming and ruining any work that we've done.
Yeah. I mean, it's a great tree, but it's in the wrong place and you can't transplant it. The goal for the landscaping was to highlight the look of the house, not hide it away. I think planting something smaller, because it's so squatty looking.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, the house just
elongate the house a little bit.
If the front of the house was overgrown, the backyard was a jungle. And of course, all of these probably need to be cut back. Well, all this stuff is so overgrown.
I know.
But what do you think's the deal is with this deck? Look how short the handrails are.
Yeah, I don't even know.
Well, a lot of people, you know, will say they want to keep handrails low so that they can see out.
Right.
You know, like if you're on some body of water or something like that. But this is dangerous here. So we added a deck rehab to our list. After we thinned out the jungle and started adding new siding to the house, we revisited the deck. We should get some tools here and go ahead and tear all the handrails off, deck boards, so we can get an idea how that deck's going to be.
I call it a sledgehammer.
All right, let's get the tools here. But once we got into the project, we discovered that the rails and the deck boards were just the beginning of the problems.
Oh, okay.
So, you know, when
this one isn't even attached.
Yeah.
That's real safe. Can't have a party on that.
And also, I think that being offset like that kind of makes it look better. I think we ought to come back and center it right on the door. And we can reuse some of this for some of the outdoor projects that you want to do, but
okay, you think so?
I say let's just take it down. And it was scary how easily it came down. While we were laying out the plans for the new deck, we also checked the grade of the yard to make sure it would drain properly. I think all of this water is going to run back this way, so I want you to go to different places and just measure up. I'll shoot the grade and we'll see where all of this goes. And there's no guesswork, and we'll know what kind of dirt we need if we need any. Okay, we got 58, so see where we dropped 3/4 of an inch. All right, 60 3/4, so see it's increased another 1.5 inches. The new design called for a larger rectangular deck with one corner cut off at a 45-degree angle to add a little design and to keep from crowding the garage. We also wanted to raise it up so that it was level with the back door. When the crew was happy with the position of the post, they mixed up some Quikrete concrete and locked them all in place. To install the deck boards, we decided to try a new hidden fastener system called Camo, which Alan found at a trade show last year. The tool clamps to each board directly over the joist and provides a guide to run the screws in at angles so that they disappear between the boards. The screws are designed so that they require no pilot holes, making it a snap to use. In fact, it was so easy that Chelsea was able to pick it up herself in just a few minutes. And when it was done, it made for a beautiful deck. Well, we talked about a lot of different types of deck design, but your idea of cutting this corner off with this 45 really turned out nice.
Yeah, I think it adds a lot without taking much of the space away.
How do you plan on using it? Have you thought of that?
Well, I'm hoping to get like a table and chairs over here and kind of have an outdoor eating, dining area, and then probably put a grill under the overhang.
That sounds great.
So,
Real good.
and then I really like how the deck is level with the floor inside the sunroom and the kitchen, so it really makes it feel like it's part of the living space.
Even though Chelsea likes that access to the deck, as a young woman living alone, she wants to make sure it's secure when she's inside. So she's installing this new lock with a built-in alarm from Schlage on the back door. It will give an audible alert when the door is opened, tampered with, or if there's forced entry. So Chelsea gets peace of mind without paying for an expensive alarm service. While we tie up a few more loose ends here, Joe has a great simple solution for your garage or workshop.
I'm sure you recognize this. It's an empty canister that once held blank CDs. I've been saving these and using them in the workshop for storage. The first thing you do is take a hacksaw and cut off the center post so it looks like this. And then I'm going to mount it to the underside of a shelf. I like mounting it up here because it's not only is it eye level, but it also keeps it off the workbench and out of the way. So it's just a couple of 1-inch drywall screws that go right into the shelf. And it's important to use 2 screws because if you only use 1, this will spin as you're tightening the canister. And I like using it for storing safety glasses and dust masks, anything like that that you want to keep clean. So you just twist it right on. There you go. And then again, because it's clear, you can easily see what's in there, and yet it's stored in a nice dust-free environment.
The icing on the cake for our first-time homeowner project will be the landscaping. But before we start planting, we're wrapping up a few smaller projects. The guys from my crew have been busy building a fence around the backyard. And Chelsea's dealing with details like moving her mailbox from the driveway to sidewalk for easier use. She's using a fast-setting concrete mix from Quikrete for this job because it will allow her to do the mixing in the post hole itself, saving time and mess. Hey, speaking of messes, it's time to make one. All right, this is gonna be a lot of fun. What we're gonna do is just completely till everything up, rake the grass, and get it ready for...
So you don't have to clean in the yard up first, like rake the grass up first?
You could. I mean, you could go and cut all the grass up, you know, and dig it up with a shovel or something, but we're not gonna do that.
Okay.
Just doing it this way, we can churn it all up, put some fertilizer out here and that kind of thing. So let's see here. The purpose of the tilling is to loosen up the ground to prepare it for new sod and new plant. Look at that. It's also a lot of fun. I think I'm ready to go to 2. I don't know about that.
That's dangerous.
Once the ground is thoroughly loosened up with the tiller, we begin raking out the debris so that the new plantings can go down. All right, now let's just rake away from the house like this. And that'll be enough that we can mark those beds, go around and do the same to the back. So I'm anxious to start laying that sod. That's the fun part. A landscaper friend of mine worked out a plan for us, and now it's time to put it to work. Front door, all right, first one, it looks like it starts right at the corner, and then rolls around and really comes right back level, even with this right here. Boy, it sure is windy out here. Don't get any paint on this, and you just want to stay consistent distance from that. All right, go ahead. All right.
Bam.
There you go. All right, good, let's go over here. Once the beds are laid out, we can begin putting down the sod. I'll let you put down the ceremonial first piece. Man, I love this job because the gratification is so immediate. 1, 2, 3, boom, first piece. In no time, all of this dirt begins looking like a yard. When the time comes to plant the trees and bedding plans, my father-in-law, Rudy, who's an avid gardener, drops by to offer a little advice.
Does that look center in front of that window?
Yes, to me.
Let's check this one out. Looks good for my house. Will it get taller? It's not very big now.
It'll get pretty good size. It'll get
Oh, wow.
5 feet in diameter.
Is that far enough away from the driveway? Should I leave that japonica there?
No, I'd put that in the corner.
Put that over there?
Yeah.
Little by little, we get all of the planning done. Now it's time for the hardscaping. Now that we have all of the grass planted and all of the plants planted, now it's time to focus on one of the final parts of the exterior, and that's the driveway. And we'd love to go with a concrete driveway, but pretty expensive. Asphalt, still fairly expensive. But we did find a type of driveway that Chelsea really likes that we're planning on putting down, and that's a crushed limestone driveway.
Yeah, I'm really excited about that because it seems to be a little more maintenance-free than concrete because you don't have to worry about the cracks or pressure washing to keep it clean, and then the asphalt, you don't have to worry about sealing it. And this also, I read that should help absorb the water instead of shedding it, so it'll help with the drainage.
Yeah, a lot better with the drainage. We want to make sure, because you got a lot of driveway here. We don't want to put water anywhere it shouldn't be. But one of the disadvantages of using a stone type driveway is the weeds will grow up through it, kind of hard to control unless you put down a landscape fabric. So we're going to put this down before the rocks are delivered. Here you go, I need to get you to help me with this. The crushed limestone is dumped from the truck slowly, starting from the back and moving to the front, so that all that's left to do by hand is a little raking and leveling. The next chore is repairing the stone curb out by the street. A little mortar mix and grout bags all we need, besides a lot of patience. While Chelsea continues working on her landscaping, let's check in with Jody for a best new product you can use in yours.
Now, even if you're not a lawn warrior, I'm going to show you how to get a green thumb in no time. Take a look at this. Scott's has come out with this great little system. It's called their Snap Pack. And you get these little packs right here, whether you need an insect killer, fire ant killer, lawn fertilizer, or even this weed and feed, and you click it right on here to this spreader. Now, it's pretty easy. See the bottom here? It corresponds nicely on the bottom of the bag with the spreader. And I'm gonna set that on here, lock it into place here, and then I'm gonna lock it into place here, and I am ready to go. Look at there, I didn't have to lift a heavy bag, I didn't over pour my feeder, I didn't make a mess, and I didn't even have to measure because Scott's has done all the measuring for me. I'm now ready to go. So if you've got an area also while you're spreading that you don't wanna get any of the, the feed or the fertilizer, you just simply flip open the edge guard, and this stops it from, say, getting on your driveway, your walkway, or in a particular flower bed that you want to protect. So see, you can have that green thumb in no time.
With our landscape complete, we finally have the curb appeal that this house really needed. Before the work started, the house was hidden behind a wall of trees and shrubs. And while many of those were beautiful plants, they were all overgrown and unkept. And their size made the house seem even smaller than it actually was. Plus, they also created maintenance problems by blocking drainage away from the house and holding moisture against the siding. By removing the out-of-control shrubs and installing the low-maintenance siding, trim, and accessories from exterior portfolio, we addressed the maintenance issues for the house, made it more energy efficient, and improved the appearance immensely. The new deck out back is a lot safer now and a lot more useful than the old one, plus it's a great addition to the house. Though we never added any square footage to the home, the front porch gable we built did give the house some scale that it badly needed. It gives the house a lot more height and creates a more obvious and welcoming entrance. I think it looks pretty darn good, but hey, what do you think?
Well, all the neighbors say that it doesn't even look like the same house, and I think that's pretty cool.
Were you imagining this kind of look when you bought that sad green house?
No, not at all. I was thinking I was going to be out here painting all that asbestos siding, and it looks better than I could have ever imagined when I bought it. It's perfect.
Inside, this house appeared even smaller than it really was, thanks to all the small rooms with limited access to each other. Plus, none of the surfaces were very attractive. Chelsea made a good start by uncovering and restoring the beadboard ceiling in the enclosed side porch and the hardwood floor in the living room. But the upgrade of the interior doors by the folks at Geldwin helped cement the vintage character of this home and tie it all together. even in that little enclosed porch turned home office where we added 2 small closets and new carpet. But some areas, like the tiny bathroom, required a more wholesale approach. Besides being unattractive, it wasn't very functional either. By gutting it and starting from scratch, we could address the functionality issues as well as the aesthetics. We moved the poorly placed window and added some much-needed ventilation thanks to our friends at Newtone. The new vanity and wall cabinet we installed from Marilat are not only beautiful, they also add tons of useful storage to this small space. It's still a small bath, but certainly not one Chelsea will dread using now. Speaking of dread, that was exactly my feeling about this kitchen before we started. It was cramped, dated, and dingy, the kind of kitchen that makes you want to order takeout a lot, even if you like to cook. By opening it up to the sunroom behind it, we were able to make it feel a lot more open, and the new cased opening from the sunroom to the dining room allows access to the back of the house without a trip through the kitchen. Although, with the new cabinets and surfaces here now, a trip through the kitchen is nothing to dread anymore. The designers at Marilat helped Chelsea create a plan and style that suits her and the house perfectly. It's bright and cheerful, and the vintage style is right at home in the 70-year-old house. And I know Chelsea's favorite part, I bet it's your mug shelf.
Yeah, I love my mug shelf to be able to see all my mugs at once. But I really like my spice rack too over here, so I can have access to my spices all at once. And then I like my cookie sheet rack over here, so I can bake up a storm at any time.
That's perfect.
Well, I think my favorite part of the whole room is this whole wall that's kind of has 3 hidden doors for my laundry room and then my pantry over here. And then it has the hinge light switch, which is awesome. You don't have to worry about opening or turning the light on or turning it back off again.
Well, I tell you what, with a pantry like this, a kitchen like this, what's for dinner?
I wouldn't count on it tonight.
Jill asks, we're painting our house. Do we have to do anything special to paint the galvanized metal around the edge of the roof?
Almost every house has some type of galvanized metal. Now, it may be an eave strip running around the edge of your roof, or valley metal, or you may even have some galvanized metal sawhorses like I have here in the shop. After a while, this stuff can start looking bad, and if you're wanting to paint it, here's what you need to do. First, if it's oxidized like this, use your wire brush just to knock a little bit of that oxidation off and then wipe it down. And then this is the key thing, use white vinegar. Wipe it down very thoroughly with the white vinegar. It's an acid and it'll etch it so the paint will stick. You still want to prime it like you would any metal. After the primer is dried, then 2 coats of top coat paint, and the galvanized metal around your place is going to look a lot better. After almost a year of planning and hard work, all of the projects at Chelsea's house are complete, for now anyway. The 70-year-old house has been transformed from a wallflower into the belle of the ball. And this belle is certainly not high maintenance. But how does the new homeowner feel about the process? Well, we certainly did a lot of work to your little house here.
Yeah, we did, but it was fun because it was my house and it was very rewarding.
Well, you did a lot of the work yourself. I mean, we would leave here some days and there'd be things hanging and come back the next day and they were all done. I heard you work till midnight some nights.
I wouldn't say I worked that long, but it was a lot of fun because it was my house, and so it didn't really feel like work.
Okay, what was your favorite part?
Well, the outside for sure, because it has a big wow factor and kind of impresses the neighbors a little bit. But even though I didn't do most of the work myself outside.
Any advice for someone that's buying their first new house?
Definitely take your time, I would say, yeah, because you don't want to get overwhelmed, and then it takes all the fun out of it.
That can be a little overwhelming,
yeah.
Huh? All right, good job. Hey, I hope you enjoyed our First Time Homeowner series. It's certainly been great to see Chelsea's personality come out in the work that was done here. I'm Danny Lipford along with my daughter Chelsea, and we'll see you next week here on Today's Homeowner.